You want to take off your coat or anything? Are you good?
I'm good.
Alright. Alright, Miles. Let's get this party started. So what's up?
Not a whole lot. I think life has just been going a lot better since we started.
Okay.
Uh, Meeting every week, meeting up with you has definitely um, let me realize what I'm missing, I guess, in my day-to-day activities, like some of my own, like my personal time,
Okay.
as opposed to um, just daily have to do tasks type things. So right now I'm doing really good today.
Yeah.
This morning I had a really good day of practice, made a lot of plays. I was alert, focused, and just now I got up from a nap and about to work on some stuff after this. So things are going pretty good right now.
Okay. What was different about today versus 2 weeks ago when before we were working together? What do you think has changed?
I think 2 weeks ago, I was a lot more. I was stressed, and then it didn't help that I was sick for like that 1 week or whatever. And so I felt like I just had a lot on my plate, and even though I said that it was like this has been one of my easier semesters because it has, I think that I was overthinking a lot of things, and right now I'm a lot more laid back and kind of just letting things play out, like doing my classwork, just do my classwork, go to practice, do good at practice, like
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. So before it's just I was more, I guess, overthinking, I guess. But
Okay.
after meeting up with you and actually writing it down, the things that I um, maybe struggled with or could improve on, like maybe some time management or what I could do better, has definitely opened my eyes
Okay.
on some things.
Why do you say you were overthinking? Like what does that mean to you?
Well, um, I think that I know that I had so much work to be done, um, and as well as uh, our spring season starting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what really set it off for me was knowing that the spring football season was about to start, and my schedule was about to get super crazy hectic. So I think I was just thinking ahead in advance that things would be crazy, and um, things actually have been going pretty smoothly. Uh, I think partially because they compensated for all the meeting time practices that we don't lift 4 days a week. We only lift twice a week now, and
Okay.
so it's given me a little bit of room um, in times that I didn't have before to
Mm-hmm.
do other things that I didn't normally have.
Okay. So you talked about having a lot to do and kind of looking at everything you had to do like in advance. This is coming up. I have to get all this stuff done, and that kind of tripped you up. Is that what you're saying, or it was just overwhelming at times?
Yeah, it was definitely overwhelming because I remember, like, for the past couple of years I've been here, like, it has been overwhelming. And so I think I was just kind of getting in that kind of mindset. Like, I really, like, I can't, there's not too much, what am I trying to say? Like, I guess recreational time for
And,
myself to kind of keep me sane, I guess.
and there's not room to make a mistake. Like
Yeah,
if you don't,
no room to make a
if you
mistake.
take a day off and
Yeah,
don't get your homework done, that's gonna have big
yeah,
consequences.
exactly. But this semester, I haven't worked, like, especially with football. I used to just focus so much on, like, oh, don't mess up. You gotta impress the coaches and you know make sure you're really on top of your stuff. But now I'm still doing that, but I know that some things are just out of my control. Like, if I just mess up on something, even though I was trying my hardest, like, I mean, it is what it is. I'll just go on to the next one. I'm not gonna linger over it because the times that I do linger over things that I've failed on, I just continue to fail on. I think that's something that, like, you probably have covered, like in some of your like we covered it in Radlow's class. Like how you just dwell on a negative thought and you're basically getting what you're thinking about or
Yep.
going over that in mind gen right So yeah,
Yep.
self-fulfilling prophecy. So.
Okay, so you talked about looking too far forward. You talked about spending too much time in the past. So what it sounds is like you're getting better at focusing on the task at hand, whether it's class, whatever you're doing right then, like that's your priority. You're able to tune out the stuff that's not important and just focus on that. Why are you more effective at doing that now versus in the past? Or what strategies, things have you done differently to get that result?
Well, this year, so not just this semester, but last semester as well, I started actually writing things down on a I got my own calendar that I
Okay.
keep with me, and I was never like my whole schooling career, my days in school. I've never been like the big planner guy. Like I've been more just like keep things in mind and like maybe record it in my notes section on my phone. But this year, I got a calendar to put in the front, on the very front of my binder, so I see it when the first thing I do when I get my binder. Um, Everything is listed out for the entire semester, everything that's due.
Okay.
So when I see it the week of, it gives me that time. Okay, I have this to do this week, and it's basically like I have like goals. Um, like I need to get this done by this due date. When before I didn't really see it like that. Before.
Okay. How do you keep yourself from getting overwhelmed though? Because if you have every test paper in your binder, like, do you have it broken up by like month? So like this month or this week I have to do this test, and I don't even worry about it until it comes up, or you try to get ahead of it.
I think it's like moderate. Like whenever it comes to an exam, it's usually like the week of
Okay.
exam time. Because for me personally, I've been doing well on my exams. Doing it that way, like studying 3 or 2 days in advance, because um, I don't know why, but for some reason, it's probably because it's like just super fresh in my head, and that's the only thing that I'll study. Like if it's an exam, then 3 days in advance, I don't focus on any other class except that one exam. So
Okay.
for 24 or 48 or 72 hours, it'll just be that class, and then I'll put all my effort into that one thing, and then I'll usually end up getting a good result. And then when it comes to like assignments, um, assignments I usually get done pretty early because they usually take about between 20 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
And so right when I hear of an assignment, I usually try to get it done that day, just so I don't have to worry about it later on. And then when it comes to actually doing my work, I never I never really try to do my work in my like at my house or in my room, because like, it's too comfortable of an environment for me. Like I just usually just want to either like do other stuff, like
Yeah.
watch TV or lay down, or like just do like get on my laptop or whatever. But what I do is I try to get out of my room, and most of the time go to the library, just because it puts me in that working mood and mindset.
Yep.
And if that's not open, go to one of the computer labs on campus. But that's how I've been going about doing my work, is getting out of my comfort zone, basically.
Okay. We've talked in the past about things like nutrition, sleep. Has that helped with like your focus? Like, do you feel you're more consistent with that, or has that kind of been a non-factor?
That hasn't really been much of a factor. It was definitely it was beneficial, obviously, but um, no, recently I haven't been too much on a diet, just because the diet was tailored to our workout schedule, and we were working out 4 days a week. With now we're only working out 2 days a week because we're in season. So I'm still eating basically the same foods, but not in at the same amount. Um, but being on the diet and being off the diet hasn't really affected me in that regard. But when I was on the diet and I was seeing results, it definitely gave me motivation. But now it isn't not giving me motivation, basically.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. What do you think room for improvement? Because Because you're saying this is working well. I've noticed I've been more focused, achieving things a little bit better. I've had more grasp on it. But what areas can we still improve on?
Well, I think I would like for example, the daily reminder, like the daily scripture verse or whatever we called it, um, or just like little practical things like that. I think I would like for you to kind of give me like a reminder text,
Okay.
because I really did want to do that, but I honestly just ended up forgetting about it. And I remembered it like on my way here, and I was like, oh shoot, I was supposed to do that thing. And almost like I know it's not like a homework thing, but like I really did want to do that because I believe in that kind of stuff. So I guess maybe like a text or two between weeks, like hey, this is what we talked about. How's that been?
Yep. And I've been really bad about it. I'll admit I've been all over the place with
Yeah.
my thesis and stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so that's a good one. We talked about that having a lot of benefits for kind of keeping you in the right mindset and kind of framing your day. What else?
What else? Time management has been good, better.
Okay.
To improve on the I'm just naming what's good. That
Yep.
has been good again. The recreation time that we talked about has been better. Like I ended up bringing my Xbox back from spring break, and I think that's let loads off that were much needed, just to relax and not think about school for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking to my friends more on the phone. I'm giving my friends from back home more time than I have before. Like one of my friends from back home were on the phone for like 3 hours or something like that, and it was just like a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been so many things that I've improved on that I'm trying to figure out what I could still need. I know there's something.
Yeah.
I'm not really thinking.
All right, let's go about this a different way. So I want you to think back on this past week. So between this time and the last time you met, and I want you to think, if you could go back in time for this entire week, what would you do differently to achieve different goals? Maybe you just slipped up, messed up, or whatever it is. What's coming to mind when you think about that? You can take a few minutes, kind of just process what happened this past week and how you could improve it, make it a little bit better, make it optimal, right? So like right now, it sounds like you're checking all your boxes, you're doing good. I want you to be doing the best possible thing. So like storybook, everything's perfect, it just works this way. That's what I kind of want you to keep in your head.
Okay.
Do you want something to write on, or take it day by day?
No,
Okay.
that's fine. And we didn't meet last week, did we?
No, we did not.
Because yeah. Okay.
It was the Wednesday. We had the scheduling thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm, think a couple. I don't know if they're that significant, but being more proactive with, well, yeah, being more proactive and smart with my money. I haven't squandered my money at all, um, but I took out the last 2 months, like these April and May, 2 months worth of rent out, and I basically have no money now. Which I mean, I'm not stressing at all, but I think partially to do with that is the diet. I was buying a bunch more food than I was normally doing, and then I remember I'm really generous when it comes to money, like when it comes to to like homeless people um, um, or like my church. Very generous when it comes to that. So I think that I could be, because last semester was really great. I actually had an excess of money that was left over. But this semester, I still have about like a month and a half left to get to use my money, and so money that I don't have. But I guess use my money better. Maybe set up like a certain amount per week that I'm able to spend for like next semester or maybe even this summer. Um, just so I'm smart with that. But and then I guess another thing would be my enthusiasm for um, football, like football activities outside of what we actually have to do, like practices and stuff. Because this weekend we have a um, special needs event that the football team is going to help out with. And honestly, for the last week, I've been trying to avoid it. Not because I'm not like against special needs, but
Yeah.
it's just like an extra thing that they say it's voluntary, but it's like if you don't go, then you're kind of looked bad upon. So it's like I've been kind of struggling with just wanting to do it just for the sake of it's the team, and I like ideally I'd like to do everything that involves the team. So I signed up for it today. I'm gonna be doing it this weekend. I'm actually excited for it now, but um, so yeah, I guess my enthusiasm for the team and loving what I do more when it comes to football, I guess, and being
How do you do that?
um, I guess just when I approach it, just go at it with everything I got, I guess, because when I guess it starts with my attitude, honestly. Because for example, this morning it was in like the um, like high 20s for the temperature. We got up at like 5 or 6 this morning before practice, and I remember just telling one of my teammates. I was telling him in a joking way, but I was partially being serious. I was just like, I do not want to practice today, and then like we just laughed, and then I actually did think about that. Like, man, I know it's just a joke, but I should.
There's a little bit of truth in
Yeah,
there, right?
I need to have a little bit better attitude because I know there's some people that would love to be on a Division I football team, and not only that, but like on scholarship for Division I football teams. So when it comes to just like the grind type stuff, when it comes to football, I guess have a better attitude because my practice could have gone one or two ways. I could have said that and actually really, really meant it, and then just kind of just dragged through practice, or um, um, thankfully the way it did go was my energy and my enthusiasm got ramped up, and I was running around, yelling around, making plays, and celebrating with my teammates. And so I could have let that small thought like take root and just destroy my whole practice, but thankfully I didn't, and I don't even want to have that in the beginning.
Okay.
So
How do you go about changing your attitude? Because I think you hit it right on the head. Like, that's an attitude thing. Whether it's a good thing, a bad thing, like, everyone has bad days, but how do you change your attitude? And how do you stop it in its tracks? Like, what strategies can we use to make sure your attitude is where it needs to be?
I definitely think that seeing, looking towards the future of what the product of what I'm doing would be, and that will give me the motivation to continue to do it. It was the same thing with my diet. Like, I had certain goals, like certain strength goals, and um, when I was going to yoga, like we can't go to yoga anymore now because we have practice, but when I was going to yoga, um, I had goals of being more flexible, and I reached those goals because I was going to yoga every week. So um, that was enough to get me excited to just go. And none of that was like our coaches would tell us like we should go to yoga, but they they only checked like a few times. But even if they wouldn't have checked, I still would have gone just because I had a good attitude about it, and
that's kind of what I was hoping you'd get to, because we've talked about it a lot. The goals attitude, like aspect of it, you want to succeed at football. Part of succeeding at football is going to practice on good days and bad days. When it sucks to be out there, like the best football players who achieve their goals do that. The other aspect is when we talked about kind of like that identity thing. Who are you as a person? Are you a person who, and it relates to your goals, are you a person who on bad days you phone it in? Are you a person who on bad days you realize that and you have to pony it? And it's fine. Some people, hey, if I'm not feeling it, I'm 50%. And that's because I know when I am 100%, I'll go 100%, but when I'm not feeling that, I'll just take it easy. And that's kind of like an identity thing. Who are you on good days? Who are you on bad days? And making that your mission. So if you want to be, and it's not even about giving 100% effort, but just your attitude. So if your attitude is, hey, even when the situation sucks, I'm going to find the positive in it. In military training, that's a huge part of survival, is kind of optimism. They teach optimism. So even when, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, to survive, you have to find a way to make it positive. You don't want the person in your squad who's just negative the whole time, right? Who's, oh, well, we're just all going to die. That member in the group doesn't help the group at all. It's the member who, okay, yeah, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. We're still alive, we're still able to do this one thing at a time. Keep focusing on kind of the positive spin on that, because that's what you can control. The days suck. Maybe you say, hey, today sucks, but we're still going to own it. Or, hey, I bet I'm going to have a better day than everyone here. Because we're all miserable. If it's a cold day and you're outside, most people don't like the cold. There's that crazy person in the group who's like, yeah, take our shirts off and run around in the snow. But most people don't thrive in that environment. And so one of the challenges for yourself can be, all right, cutting out that voice in your head, right? Because it started in your head before you even said anything out loud. It was, this sucks. I'm waking up at 5 in the morning. It's 20 degrees outside. I'm freezing. I didn't sleep enough. This is awful. And then you kind of probably picked up on the vibe in the room, like, hey, this person feels exactly how I feel. Like, they have that look on their face. I'm going to make a joke about how shitty this is. Okay? Or whatever it is. Stopping that thought process before it gets to you saying something out loud, that's where it begins. Have you ever had a teacher in college who has a bad day? Like they just phone it in, they're cranky that day, they don't have enthusiasm, they're just kind of flipping through the slides.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I assume so.
Have you ever had a teacher who you could never find that off day? Every single day they brought their A game and they were just there.
Yeah, actually.
Okay. Odds are that person had a bad day. Over the course of 16 weeks, I would bet 2 times a week, one of those 32 days, they had a rough day. Something bad happened in life, whatever. They had to bring that energy even though they weren't feeling it. So it's this idea of faking it till you make it. As a teacher, I'll admit, I have days where I don't want to see anyone, I don't want to teach, I don't want to do it. It's my job, I get paid to do it, but my mindset is not, hey, this is awesome. But my students would never know that I'm having a bad day. Because I bring an energy to it and I don't want them to be able to tell me, hey, well, he's having a rough day, he's mad today. Like, they can't tell. And I've actually gotten compliments, like, you never have a bad day. I've seen it on my evals. Because my mindset is, all right, if I'm having a good day, I should act the same way on the days I'm having bad days. What things do I do? First thing I do is, every person who comes to my class, I greet them by name, and I'll either make a joke, say something like, ask them how they're doing. Like, the first thing I do is, miserable days are made easier when you have friends, is my mindset. So I try to, like, kind of bond with people on my bad days. I do it more so on bad days than good days. Like, hey, what's going on? Maybe make fun of something, your shoes inside, whatever it is, I'll make a joke. And then before you know it, everyone's joking and laughing around it. It doesn't seem as bad. Going back to the military, when they're doing like ruck marches, they sing, or they have like different chants that are all jokes. Like they're always trying to bring a positive energy, and so that's something that you can build into your day to kind of help you with, hey, today sucks. All right, what are you going to do to sense.
Yeah, it makes
So,
sense.
what of that are you buying into? What of that's just garbage? What are your thoughts?
Um, I feel the same way about that as I did the daily reminder thing. That I think it would. I guess I think it would depend on. I think that would help me. That the daily reminder would also help me in that too.
Okay.
So, just looking down and seeing like that verse would help me in my attitude. So I think the daily reminder could do multiple things for me. That was like the main thing I really wanted to try.
Okay. So, with our daily reminder, what if you have, so like your verse or whatever you're using, but then underneath that you have a reminder to say something positive? Because we talked about saying things and how that has a different impact than just reading it. What if at the bottom of that you had to say something positive about the day?
Yeah.
And kind of tag on to that same concept and build it into your schedule.
Like today's gonna be great. Something like
No,
that.
not even that. Today might suck. You woke up at 5 in the morning. That was not a great day. But what at 5 in the morning, your car started? You know, your day could have gotten worse if your car didn't start. Or, hey, it wasn't snowing in the morning. Or, you know what I mean? Like the silver lining aspect of it and finding something. I call it finding an excuse to be happy or finding an excuse to be joyful. Right? Because a lot of people look for an excuse to be miserable. Right? You know those people like, if the smallest thing goes wrong, oh, today sucks. Today's the worst. I didn't win the lottery today, so I'm just pissed off at the world. Okay? The same concept works for being happy. People need an excuse to be happy. They don't just wake up like, oh yeah, today's great. Like they're like, oh, this happened to me. I'm stoked. Free pizza on the quad. Like, yes, awesome, we win. Where can you, like, finding that excuse to be happy? And that's an attitude thing. That's something you choose to do. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Again, especially when you first start, it won't feel natural. Like, it will feel like you're a fraud. Like, from my own personal experience, and maybe you'll be a little bit different, but first few times you're like, this is dumb, this isn't me, or it takes it a little while until, like, it makes sense to you. And, like, you're like, no, this is genuine, like, I feel better about my day because I'm trying to be happy, or I'm trying to look for the positive. Okay? Is that something you're picking up, or, you know what I mean? Like, is that ringing true, or are you kind of
Yeah.
skeptical?
I think the only thing that I would have to say about that, I guess, is trying to think. So in my mind, I'm looking at it like I'm just being more thankful.
Okay.
Is that similar to what you're talking about?
It just has to be positive. I don't.
Okay.
If you want to look at it in terms of thanks, whatever it does to put you in a positive mindset.
Yeah.
So you talked about earlier, I should be happy for the opportunity to be on a Division I football team on scholarship here. And there would be people who would love that opportunity. If that thought puts you in a better frame of mind and you're not complaining, win. That's a win. Okay? That's a checks and balance. If your thing is whatever, hey, this makes me happier. You know, I feel better just because I get to go to practice with 3, 4, 5 people that I'm really good friends with. Like, that's awesome. Being able to work with people I like is a win. Okay, so that maybe that's my mindset. Maybe for me, I come into the offices having a rough day, and I just see one of my friends, like who I work with, say hi to them. Like, that just brings me up a little bit. Okay, so it's finding an excuse to be happy is kind of what I'm talking about. So whether that's finding like being more grateful, and that's something to be happy about. You should be happier when you realize how blessed you are as a person. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
we tracking so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
What else?
What else? That's all I can think of.
Okay.
Because the past couple of weeks has been really good for me. So.
Okay. So usually what I've noticed, and this is just how life works, you'll get an up and then you'll get a down, and
Yeah.
you'll get an up. What can you do when your luck starts to change? Because things are going great right now, and the thing I don't want you to do, I don't want you to just live it out and be like, yeah, it was great, and then it gets rough and you're just like, oh, it's rough. I want you to look at what you're doing differently when it's good as a lesson, so that when things start going wrong, you can stop it and use what you learned from the good times to kind of bridge that gap. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what can we take away from this good time in particular?
I guess just looking back and remembering how it felt, and if I'm struggling with something again, um, let that be my motivation. Like, I know, like, I've been in a better place before, and
Okay.
so I do whatever it takes to get back to that. So I have better fulfillment in myself.
Remind me, we talked about journaling in the past. You're not a big journaler, right?
Not too much. I have before, but not, I mean, I'm not really consistent with it. So
Okay.
no, not really.
I would recommend, and this is just me personally, writing down some of the, just the feelings. Like, what does it feel like when things are clicking? What does it feel like to be on track with your goals? What does it feel like to overcome it? Because like you're saying, oh, I'll just think back on what I was doing. And yes, that's exactly what I want you to do. But if you actually write down what you were feeling and write down what was different, then you can look back with more accuracy. Okay? So that might be something where you don't have to write a journal every day, but just maybe like, hey, this week was a great week. Here's why it was a great week. Here's what about it was great. Here's what I achieved. Here's what my attitude was like. Here's whatever you want to talk about. This was a great week. Why was it a great week? It doesn't have to be long. You can do more like a bullet point style. This was really great. This was really great. This wasn't great, but I can improve upon it. Whatever. And just kind of, then you're not spending 20 minutes every day writing something down, but you have something that you can look back on with more certainty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that would be kind of my other challenge for you. I know we have the daily reminders, what we were talking about for like the post-it notes. I think that was the major thing we talked about moving forward. The other homework that I would have is just taking 5-10 minutes and just highlighting what went great about this past week. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about this today, but do you want to go into more like money stuff, or is that just kind of like a general thing you were talking about?
That's definitely more like a general
Okay.
thing. That's it. Like, it wasn't hard at all last semester. Um, literally the only things that, like, the reason why I run out faster is just because, like, I've gone out to eat way more than I have last semester. So
Yeah.
I think that's something I can, like,
You're aware of it.
Yeah,
You just,
I'm aware of it.
Okay.
But this was only my second semester living off campus, and so and with our scholarship money that we get, like, we get like a large sum of.
You get the
like,
lump.
Yeah, we get the large sum of money, and just, I guess, just finding a balance between like when are some good times to go out to eat and maybe spend time with friends, and or sometimes just hold back and just save, I guess. But it's not definitely.
Okay.
I've had a good past of managing my money well, so.
Okay. I just didn't know if it was something that is a big struggle, then I don't want to just brush it off to the side and ignore it. But to me, it kind of seemed like it was just one of those things that's kind of happening right now, and you know why it happened, and you're aware of it. It is what it is. And so I didn't want to ignore it if it was important, but
Yeah.
that was kind of the vibe I was getting.
Like for example, right now, like with all my rent money and my utilities due, I usually take out all of that money ahead of time, and I take it out in cash, and like I go and I hide it in my closet somewhere, like nobody would find, like I'll just hide.
What's your address? What room are you in?
Oh, I live in Arizona, and I'll put it there, and that just keeps me from wanting to use more money in for my account, because I always swipe
Yeah.
my card all the time, and I hardly ever use cash. I usually only try to carry like $20 cash, but I'll take out all my rent and all my bills money, and I'll store it somewhere, and then when it's time for all that stuff to be due, then I'll just go and get
Just
it.
grab it. Yeah.
So,
That makes a lot of sense.
So,
Cool. All right, sir. If you don't have anything else, when do you want the reminders? Because I have it down to remind you, like, I'm gonna shoot for 3 times between now and next time we meet. Tomorrow, is that when you want the first reminder? Do you want a reminder right after this, like tonight? Hey, take care of this when you get a few minutes.
I think like a good like Monday, Wednesday, Friday type
Okay.
schedule.
So then I will shoot you a text tomorrow. What time of day works best for you?
Somewhere in the middle of the day.
Okay.
I see all my texts in the middle of the day, like between classes and stuff.
Do you want me to shoot you a text real quick after our meeting? And this is just a thought that's coming to my head of like just quick bullet points of what we talked about. So like if you want to, like, oh yeah, we went over this, I want to do that. Or would that help you?
I mean, no,
Or
not
not?
really.
Okay.
Like, the only thing I'm really thinking about is the practical things that we talked
Okay.
about. I remember back to just like the pretty much general information stuff. So.
Okay, that's fine. If that would help you, then I'd be happy to do it. But otherwise, we're good to go. All right, sir. We're good. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Have fun in your with your video.